Hey everyone, Dave here with OSG TTV. Hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, my name is Dave and we love streaming retro games all the way up to current gen and pretty much everything in between. Tonight we're going to get into a little bit of an exclusive look of all the consoles, or many consoles that we've used on the stream over the years, and we're going to rate those A to F. We're going to grade them all and see how they rate in the scheme of this guy's brain. So let's get going. Have some fun. So yeah, we're going to do something a little different than what we've done here before, and we're going to do one of the tier ranking systems here tonight. Have never done one of these on the stream before, so this will be exciting to try and figure out if we can answer honestly. You know, to be honest, the list of consoles we got here tonight, I love all of them. I love buying retro consoles. I love buying the mini consoles. I love using them for the stream. And when you love something, when you love your collection, it's going to be hard to not rate them up at the top tiers, like tier A, tier B. Not a lot of them are going to make it down to the bottom where we rate them like a D or an F. So I think what we need to do tonight is we need to be ultra critical about these things and really rip into them. And I don't like being mean to my consoles because I love them all like family. But we may nitpick a little bit on these things here today just to get the range, the A through F range. To make A, it's going to have to be something extraordinary. And to make F, it's really going to have to be a POS. So it should be interesting trying to put all these in order here tonight. So let's bring up the list with no further ado. We're kind of looking at these as all of the machines, well, not all of them. There's probably some others that haven't made the cut. Maybe they don't exist in this household anymore. Maybe they're packed away and I completely forgot about them. But the list of items you see here are things that we've either streamed a lot in the past or maybe even one time, but these are all the devices that are easily accessible to me in my cabinet and other hidden areas of this room. So we're going to go through these one at a time, and if anyone out there wants to throw their 2 cents in on what they think about any of these systems, feel free. We'll give you a chance before we throw them on the chart to voice your opinion. And let's go. How do we do this? Like I said, first time doing this. This is like a new thing for me. Let's start out with number 1. We'll just work our way through, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe we'll take one from the beginning, one from the end, and we'll just kind of mix them up, or random. I don't know. Who knows? All right, we are going to start with the first one. We got a Nintendo 3DS here. So the Nintendo 3DS, I will be honest with you, it has made the stream in the past. And it doesn't have HDMI output or anything good to really use, but I was goofing around with it one day and I actually had a camera just mounted over the top of it filming the two screens on it. And I will tell you that it was a pretty crappy stream. I don't think it ever happened again after that day, but we used it on the stream. And we got a Nintendo 3DS. We got a bunch of games on it. This is where we start getting critical. I'm not a huge fan of handhelds. You know, when you get to the upper age bracket of your gamer base, you know, I'm sure there's a lot older than me that are gamers, but you know, my prime was back in the early 90s, late 80s. And so you can imagine that over the years, some things start to go, like eyesight, right? Make it a little difficult to play handhelds. Not difficult or impossible, but just uncomfortable. It's kind of like staring at your cell phone all day. I can do it for a while, but after like 20 minutes of like doom scrolling on my phone, my eyes get real tired, and you know, to pull away from that and focus on other things sometimes gives me a headache. But let's rate the system. Okay, so we got small screens, that's a minus. I got a bunch of good games on the system, so that's a plus. It is portable. I can take it with me on vacations and have some kind of gaming experience with me if I really need to, if I'm really that bored on vacation and I need to play games for like an hour or something like that. It's small, it's compact, the battery lasts a long time. It's got Mario Kart on it, so it's not horrible. But like I said, it's not something that I would be pulling out to play on a regular basis. So, Nintendo 3DS. We got anyone out there watching that wants to rate a 3DS? Where would you put it? Where would you put the 3DS? Because, to be honest, we're going to put the 3DS... We're going to put the 3DS at a C level. 6.8. Where does 6.8 fall on a scale of A to F, like in a school grading scale system? That's probably like a high D, right? A 6.8 is like a 68. I kind of agree with you, but I'm going to give it the C just because portability, when needed, it has come in handy. So it's not a horrible device. It's got good games on it. It's got good graphics. I just wish there was more to it. You know, like HDMI out or something like that. Let's go to the middle of the road here. Let's just say Raspberry Pi 400. All right, so Raspberry Pi devices are great for emulation, RetroArch, and all kinds of other things. Batocera, you can download emulators. You can do a lot of things with a Raspberry Pi. Not just gaming, not just emulation, but small computers, Linux boxes. And this one that I have here, it's a Raspberry Pi 4 with... It's built into a keyboard, so you don't have to like USB a keyboard into it. It's got the keyboard. All you need really is if you're doing something with a mouse or a gamepad. Well, and it has Bluetooth too, right? So you can Bluetooth a gamepad to it. So very versatile. It's got HDMI out. You do have a HDMI converter cord that you have to have because it's like an HDMI mini connection. It's really weird. So you have to get like a dongle cable to convert it into HDMI. Very powerful, very versatile. Don't need a keyboard on this thing, but you do need that HDMI adapter, which is kind of stupid. I hate lugging out that adapter every time I get the console out. But as far as rating a Raspberry Pi, I know Raspberry Pi 5 is the cat's meow right now. But the Pi 400, for what it is, It's very usable. It's kind of an all-in-one package if you're looking to get into emulation. We're going to put that up to B because that's a very good machine. It's weird that I don't use it that much, but it's a very good machine. All right, let's go towards the end here. Let's go current gen. Let's go Xbox. Price point of what it can do, 8.8. All right, we are in sync so far here. Let's go current gen. We're gonna go Xbox Series X right here. This is the 1 terabyte Xbox Series X. Plays all of your modern games. Games I'm playing right now currently: Battlefield 6, Dead by Daylight, Expedition 33, Indiana Jones. You know, I've been gaming on this thing since it's released. This is pretty much my go-to console for current gen games. I do have a PC for gaming, but I like console gaming. I like to sit down on the couch away from the TV with a wireless controller in my hand and just go at it. So Xbox is awesome. You know, all the crap that's going on in the news right now, it sucks for Xbox fans, but for what I've used it for the games I've had on it, for Game Pass, I tend to get Game Pass for cheaper than normal because I get like codes off eBay and stuff like that. You can save a lot of money by doing that. I love the console. I'm scared to see where it's going to go in the future towards next gen, but for now, I'm gonna actually rate this up in the A category because I've had no issues with this. It's worked perfectly. Love all the games I play on it. My wife's on Xbox. Crossplay with PlayStation consoles. I mean, there's nothing you can't do with it. And actually, believe it or not, since the Series X has come out, I've only been through one additional controller I've had to buy so far. The one you see pictured there is the Halo Special Edition, and the controller that I got with it lasted forever, and I just finally got a new controller like 2 months ago. So the controller has been working super for that. So do we got any ratings for Xbox Series X? All right. Next system. I'm glancing through here. Let's go for the last one on the list here. This is the Atari Flashback Gold 12. HDMI output. The console is small. It's cute. It comes with joysticks. It comes with paddles. They are 9-pin attached controllers, meaning you could use those with a real Atari system. I use them on my PC for emulation. The paddles that come with it work great for games like Kaboom and stuff like that. No complaints about the controls that come with them. 130 games packed in. But I'm going to tell you, the console itself, it sucks donkey. The software that loads up the front end and launches the emulation and does the emulation, it's very bad. It's got software glitches in it where your controller buttons will not work 1 out of 15 button presses. And I've confirmed this on multiple units and tried about 10 different controllers. I've contacted the company to report the problem. They've acknowledged the problem, but will not do anything to fix it because it was out too long. My system exactly is out of warranty. So basically, if I could tell everyone out there in the world never to buy an Atari Flashback 11 or 12, one of the HDMI out units, I would do that. Don't buy those. The controllers are phenomenal. I love the controllers. But the system is useless. And with the system being useless, I have to put it in the F category. I mean, if you can't play the games on it, it doesn't pay to have the system. It doesn't matter how good the controllers are. Like I said, I've used the controllers on other devices and they work perfect. So that's a plus for it, but if there's a system I wish I hadn't bought in the past, it's this one right here. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going on here. Let's go. We got two C64s here. Let's just pick one of these out. Let's go with the mini system. There's a C64 mini and there's a C64 full size. They're pretty much the same thing. Full size is the same size as a full Commodore 64. It actually has a working keyboard, has all the same ports, HDMI out, everything, blah, 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 that the Mini has. The Mini is a cute little companion. It does all the same things as the full-size unit. It just doesn't have a working keyboard. If you need to use a keyboard, you can plug one in via USB. The downside is the Mini system is lacking in USB ports. So you have to almost get an USB splitter with it, which is kind of sucky to have a splitter and then all the wires and then going into a keyboard. For a cute little mini system that should just sit there and look cute, it turns into a mess with all the wires and USB ports and everything. The system itself works good. You can add your own games on a USB and play everything that's C64, so no complaints there. The joystick that got packed with it sucks, and the early versions snap easily because the shaft is a plastic red shaft on the controller, and it snaps really easy. They've since in later models fixed the joystick issue, but maybe too little too late, I don't know. So because of, and like I said, I love all these systems, but I'm going to get a little crucial with these here, a little critical. We're going to give this one a D just because of the lack of USB ports, the shitty joystick that comes with it. You know, mess of wires when you have everything hooked up that you need to have hooked up. That's going into the D category. All right, let's go on to bottom tier. Let's do another Xbox. It looks like we got a couple Xboxes down here. Let's go the original Xbox. This is the original Xbox. Had a huge software library for it. Came with like one of the biggest controllers you've ever seen on an Xbox. And very functional. It had a built-in hard drive to it, so you could load your games to hard drive. It was pretty cool. Oh, the original is a nice box. I think mine still works. I think there were some issues with, I don't know what they're called. The resistors, the transistors, the things, the diodes. Something, you know, can go bad on the board of those. It can leak or do something funky. I think mine is still working, but I wouldn't doubt it soon if it dies. It has to get recapped or something. I don't know. Hardware guys would know what I'm talking about. But huge library. Very good system. Never had any issues with mine. The disk drive worked fine. It still reads discs. Turbo Jet Nitro. Good to see ya. Not gonna lie, surprised you put the Series X at A tier. Hey, that thing has run perfect for me. I've had no issues with it. I love all the games that I play on it. Controller has lasted me since launch all the way up to like a month or two ago. No complaints. And it's got Flight Simulator on it. As far as the original Xbox goes, where is it going to go? A to F. I actually enjoyed the heck out of it. Believe it or not, it's going B tier for me. The original Xbox also was able to be modded. Discs were able to be copied. I'm not saying I ever did anything like that, but, you know, I've heard from a friend that you could do it. So that, you know, gives you a lot more use out of a system, which could be very beneficial for someone. All right, let's pick a... I should just close my eyes. How many do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should have like a random number generator here. 6, 9, 12, 15-ish. I don't know. Let's go 9. I won't even look at the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The MetaQuest VR headset. This is the newest release, I think. It's been out for a long time. We should be due for a MetaQuest 4 headset or whatever their next generation is going to be any time now. I haven't heard of anything. But I think the 3 has lasted at this point as long as the 2 has. So I'm kind of surprised we don't have something coming up. Or if we have, I haven't heard of it. MetaQuest 3 hooks up to the PC, does PC VR gaming a lot better than the 2 does. It has a lot more hardware to it. It keeps up, it refreshes a lot better with the PC. Menus are not as sluggish. You can rip through the menus and everything. Really nice. It's a very good headset. It's still a little weighty in the front, a little, I'm not going to say heavy, but it could be lighter. Let's just say that. And the wireless capabilities of it are still meh. With a PC, I use the link cable. So I love 3D. I love VR. I just don't like the mess of having to get it out, hook everything up just to use it. So for that, I don't know. It's between C and D. We're going to go low C. It's a great unit, but it could still be improved upon. Just saw one at Target not too long ago. What kind of price tag do they get on those? Are those jacked up in price, or are they starting to finally lower the price on those things? I gotta see if I have some different music here. All right. I think it was like $300 last time I checked. See, and like I said, we've got to be on the border, the fringe of new hardware getting mentioned and getting released soon. I would say in the next 6 months, if they're going to do another system, it's got to be out in the next 6 months, because the 3 has been out for a long time now. All right, let's random generator. We're going to go 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The PlayStation Classic. All right, so this is a PlayStation Mini. It's designed to be the PlayStation 1. Comes with 2 controllers, which is nice. And they are the classic PS1 controllers with a USB connection. So you can actually use them on your PC as really good emulation controllers. They do not have analog on them. Later PlayStation 1 had some analog in it, but super early PlayStation did not have analog on it. Out of the box, the system really sucks. The games they include in it are so-so, but the emulation sucks and it kind of ruins the games. Once you mod it and change the system software on it and you start playing those same games in a modded system, they play much nicer, if not perfect. Plus you have the ability to add additional games to the unit after that. And after you mod it, the machine is a powerhouse. It's great. I'm glad I have it. I never regretted buying one. I think I even have an extra one in the basement that's never been opened. I think I came across that one for like 20 bucks or something like that. And yeah, we're going to rate that one a C. I do wish it had an analog controller that came with it, though. Makes like some of the PS1 driving games a little better if you have the analog controls on it. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 is the Atari 2600. Classic machine from 1970, whatever it is, 6, 7, 9, 78, 76, 77, 78, 79. Can't remember exactly when it came out. I should know that. Part of my childhood. It's my second console our family has owned. Not the first. We actually owned the Atari Pong console first and then switched over to the 2600. I would say by the end of it, before it got sold off for upgrading to something else, I think I had 30 to 40 games for it. Some were top tier games, others were $3 cheapy bin games, so a mix of everything. But I cannot tell you the amount of hours I have put in on Atari, and we still play Atari today. Maybe not on this console on the stream, but we have lots of other ways. There's like 100 ways to play Atari games. So, you know, and I'm gonna rate this as a lifetime experience, not just a how it is today, how it was in the 70s. We're gonna go B. It was a great system for its time. It defined gaming. But there are a lot of stinkers on the system as well. So, all right, let's go number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are systems that we have, and at one point we've used on the stream. Maybe once, maybe many times. Like the Nintendo 3DS. We started with that. I used that on the stream one time. With a camera over the 2 screens, and we streamed it that way, and it was a bad stream, but we used it. So Sega Genesis Mini. There's 2 different mini Sega Genesis systems out there. The earlier one, which is the one I have, is moddable. You can put a different OS on it, front end. You can load your own ROMs on it after that. You can, if you want to have the complete Genesis library, you need additional storage. It doesn't all fit on the internal Genesis. You have to go external for an extra USB stick. But you can also add different systems to it if you want. It does like the 32X. It's strong enough to do the Sega CD, and then you can do like Nintendos on it and stuff like that if you want to. But it comes with 3-button controllers. It would be nice if they would have done the 6-button controllers, because one of the games they had on there was Street Fighter. Do the math, you know, hard to play Street Fighter with 3 buttons. But the controllers feel real good. They're full size. They're not like little mini things. They are USB. You can plug those into a computer and use them on computers for emulation if you want. So the system overall is really good if you are into Genesis. We're actually going to put that up at a B level because they did a really good job on that. And I'm trying to be critical of these machines. I'm trying to like rip them apart so we can have a full A through F tier going on here. As I said at the beginning, I love all my machines and I don't want to talk bad about any of them, but some have their flaws, right? All right, let's go number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, look at that. We got the Super Nintendo Mini coming up right after the Genesis Mini. So this is the Super Nintendo Classic. It comes packed with like 24, 25 games, something like that. They are top tier games. It's not like they just scrounged around for the cheapest licensed ROMs they could put on this thing. They got all the big names on there. This comes with 2 controllers. They're not USB attached. They actually have the weird little attachment on the controller that you would find on the bottom of a Nintendo Wii controller for attaching the nunchuck on the bottom. That's the kind of controller adapter it uses to go into the machine. It's kind of a weird decision. The games play great on it. The save states, the screen settings. This system can also be modded, so you can get more games on it, just like the Genesis. If you want the entire Nintendo library, you're going to need additional storage to do it because it won't all fit on the internal storage. But you can do the same thing that you can do with the Genesis, so it's a pretty good system. The fact that the controllers aren't USB is kind of a bummer, so I would love to be able to use those Super Nintendo controllers like on my PC and things like that too. So for that reason, it's going down to the C tier, but it does work very nice. I want to take 10 seconds out and thank our latest follower, Sebastian Shaw 69. Is it the Sebastian Shaw? I don't know. But yesterday, Sebastian followed us, and thank you for that. I hope to see you around OSGTTV and find out what games you are playing. All right, let's go number 1. What do we got number 1? The Amiga 500 Mini. I grew up with the Amiga 500 full size in my later teen years into my early 20s. That came after the Commodore 64. I got a lot of use out of it. I've streamed it a whole heck of a lot on the stream. There is a full-size Amiga computer coming out mid next year. It's the Amiga 1200. It's probably going to run the same software and innards as the mini system, but have a working keyboard, kind of like the supersized Commodore 64. So it should give you a more complete Amiga experience. For a mini, this system has been pretty good to me. It did break on me, and I tried contacting support, and it was crickets. I didn't hear anything back from support. I ended up shelving it for like 6 months thinking it was broken. I did a little research after that and found out that by flashing the software and reloading the whole OS and making some modifications to some files on there, I got it up and running, and it's been running really good ever since. No working keyboard, but they have enough USB ports on here this time, unlike the C64 Mini, so you can plug in a keyboard if need be, or other USB devices. I love the Amiga 500 so much, but we're gonna throw this in mid-tier just because of the issues I've had with it and the lack of support from Retro Games. As much as I love their products, that one left a bad taste in my mouth. So that's why we're rating that one a C. Kind of going through my list of old songs that I haven't played for a long time here. All right, let's go number 4. What do we got for number 4? All right, number 4. This is a special. This is I don't know if you call it a mod or something like that. It's the Sega Dreamcast, but it's only the Dreamcast as far as a case goes. It's running a Raspberry Pi 5 inside, which can run Dreamcast and Sega Saturn games like really good. Saturn is a tough system to emulate for some reason, unless you have really decent hardware for it. And Raspberry Pi 5 does that stuff awesome. We talked about the Pi 400 earlier. The Pi 5 is that and better. Where would we rate it though? I would say it's still not A tier. It's a really high B tier. It does great with a lot of systems. But you still kind of wish it could do a little more. But we're going to give it a B rating. Doesn't come with any controllers or anything. You got to supply your own. Got to supply your own power cable for it. Power brick. You know, little details like that. Would have been nice to help get it up maybe to a lower A range. I mean, they do sell complete kits and stuff like that, but as a default, you'd think standard power cords should be like a thing, right? Or is it just me? I don't know. Number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nintendo Switch. Who out there has a Nintendo Switch? I bought a Nintendo Switch. I bought a Nintendo Switch like, what was it? A year? When did the second AAA Zelda game come out? Is it Breath of the Wild? Is that the second one? That's when I bought my Switch. And to this date, I've only bought like 3 games for it, like in a card format. Maybe like 5 digital games on it. I really don't use the Switch that much. I'm not going to say I regret buying it, because the games I have on it are good and it's fun and it's portable. Kind of like the 3DS. You know, it's got a little bit bigger screen, which is nice. But I'm not a super big fan of the Switch. The fact that you got to pay more money for like the Mario Kart expansion. You got to pay to play online to get like the NES and Super Nintendo collections and Game Boy, stuff like that. Or else you don't get that stuff as a bonus. I don't know. Like I said, I don't regret buying it, but I don't have the hours in on it. And we're going to put that in the D category. I love my Mario Kart on it, but you know, I don't know. Where do you rate yours, Turbo? Where would you say? Where would you rate your Switch? You probably got a lot of time in on yours. Oh yeah. B tier. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured you would say. Did you ever go Switch 2? Or did you stop at the first Switch? You know, looking back at having the first Switch, I have zero interest in going Switch 2. Maybe someday I'll get one used or cheap or whatever, but we all know how that goes for Nintendo, right? It's never cheap when it's used. It's still expensive. So it's probably never going to happen. No need for that. It's just the 3DS versus new 3DS, 2DS thing all over again. That is a good comparison. I never really thought about that. Nintendo usually does really good when they bring out a new gimmick on a console. Anytime they do a second generation of something, it just doesn't do as good. You know, and I'm thinking like Wii U, Switch 2, the 3DS, the 2DS, the 3DS. They could have probably just stuck with the 2DS and not done the 3DS, but you know, they were going 3D, cutting technology at the time. 3D was a big thing. So I get that, but I don't know. Yeah, missing out on performance and extra gimmicks, but not enough to warrant an upgrade. It only makes sense if I didn't already have a Switch. See, and then things that catch my eye are like the Virtual Boy things. But the Virtual Boy, that's another one of those paid services, right? You have to pay the online subscription to play games online or whatever it is to get that. I think that's the same as like the NES on the first Switch, the Super NES. I don't know. All right, let's go on to another one here. Let's go for the last one. What do we got? Xbox One. So Xbox One. Oh, I just noticed too that I don't have a PlayStation 4 on here. But Xbox One, PlayStation 4, pretty similar time frame, pretty similar games except for a few exclusives. They're probably going to be rated the same. This is the system that I think the Xbox 360 was huge as far as a graphical leap and a generational leap. The Xbox One was kind of like, meh, did we really need it? You know, I think it used Blu-ray versus disc, so it gave you more storage. They tried to do a lot more with it with the Kinect and all that, but that failed right at the start. It was a good system, but not anything that you had to have. It was kind of like CD, you know. I would have been happy if they just would have kept like Xbox 360 games coming out or something like that, but and then you had the change in hardware, so a lot of your peripherals didn't work. Like if you had Rock Band, Guitar Hero things going from the 360 to Xbox One, some of the items worked, many of them didn't. I was kind of pissed about that. So, but Turbojet Nitro disagrees with me. He said earlier for $20 a year. Online is a deal, but for me, I don't use it enough to be worth it. Xbox One Turbo says he would do a high B tier due to the backwards compatibility they added later on. Can't disagree with that. Once again, the games I really loved on the 360, though, they just didn't bring them over. The ones I really like. A lot of those games did not make it into the backward compatibility. But backward compatibility is pretty decent. We'll include that on my A tier rating for the Xbox Series X. So everything is still playable up there, right? Sadly, it's limited backwards compatibility, right? And it did take a while to come out, right? Xbox was like, no, we're not gonna do that. Oh, we are gonna do that. Here's a small list to get started, and then it did grow over the years. Let's go number 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The NES Mini. So this is the NES Classic. I'm trying to think. It has about 30 games on it, I think. I think it says that in the picture. I can't read it. It's too small. Once again, it's very similar to the Super Nintendo Mini. It's shaped just like an NES. It looks like a cute little NES. It's got the weird connectors on the controllers, just like the Super Nintendo, where it's like the bottom of a Wii controller where your nunchuck plugs in. And I think they did that so you could actually, I think you can use those gamepads on a Wii system if you're playing like the classic Nintendo games on a Wii system, which I don't know how many people really did that. Games are great. Now this one you can also mod with some software, and if you wanted the whole NES library, it actually does fit on the internal storage because those games are so small in size. You can fit all the games on there, which is nice. If you want to do other systems on it, those would require extra storage probably. You're kind of limited with the controller. I don't know if you can plug a Super Nintendo controller into the NES. I've never tried that. But if you're thinking of other systems to emulate on the NES Classic, you probably want to keep it to older systems, like things that use 2 buttons or less, like the old Sega system, the Master System, Atari games, stuff like that. Things that you don't need a lot of buttons for, right? So a lot of knockoff systems when the NES came out, and you can still probably go on Amazon today and get them for like a dime a dozen. A lot of them run for shit. The emulators on these systems run really nice. Nintendo did a great job with the emulators on these things. We're going to actually put this one... we're going to put this one up in the B category. Just because the controllers work awesome. The Super Nintendo controllers work good, but not as good as the NES ones. The fact that you can load a lot of other old systems on here, like I said, the Master System and stuff like that. I mean, you can do that on anything with emulation, but it's kind of cool to have it on the NES Mini. I don't know. In my mind, it does the same thing, but it's just cooler on the NES. All right, what do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 more to go. We're gonna have to rip through these a little faster here. All right, let's go for number 4. The Atari Game Station Pro. All right, so this is done by My Arcade. It's licensed with Atari. Comes with like 200 games packed into it. It's a little console that's not really shaped like something that it's trying to emulate from years past. It comes with 2 weird looking joysticks that work really good if they're plugged in. If you use them wirelessly, they have some issues. They do have a spinner knob in the controller, so if you're playing like Atari games that use spinner controls, it's really nice having that on the joystick. They try to incorporate games from other systems like the Atari 7800, 5200, some off-brand arcade machines and stuff. So they try and emulate games with additional buttons. So on the controllers you have your standard fire button at the top of the stick is a B button, and then there's also a trigger button on the stick, and it's just a really awkward configuration, especially when you're playing like a fighting game that has like punches and kicks. You know, you got to be pushing the button down on the bottom, and then you got to be pushing the button up on top to do something else, and it doesn't flow nice. It's kind of weird. It can be modded. You can add lots of games to it, whether it's MAME arcade games, more Atari games, so you can get quite the library of games on it. So it's pretty cool, especially if you get one in the markdown bin for like 35 bucks. It's kind of a really cool system to have. But it's just kind of a weird, awkward, it almost feels like a toy. We're going to give that a D rating. In a few days, we're going to have the sequel to that coming out, the My Arcade Game Station Go, which is a handheld Atari console with a lot of the same games, but a lot of new hardware features to it. So look for that in the next few days. Probably in the next week, we'll be doing a video on that. It should show up next Monday, I'm thinking. So looking forward to that. I don't think that system is going to get a D rating. All right, let's go number 2. 2 is the Atari VCS. In the last 5 or 6 years, Atari started a Kickstarter campaign to build a new console, and while everyone in the world figured it was going to fail, it actually took off. It's a dual boot mini computer, more so than anything. It dual boots into like an Atari OS where it has its own library, its own storefront where you can buy games, and you know, kind of a cool little thing. But then you could dual boot on it and load your own OS, like off of a internal M2 drive or an external USB drive, Windows, Linux, kind of whatever you want to do with it. Didn't they sell that at Walmart? And I'm assuming you're talking about the Atari Game Station Go, which we just put in the D category. That one they sold all over the place. It was huge. My Arcade is known for putting out those real small, little portable, cheap, handheld arcade conversions of Pac-Man, whether they're on keychains or small little arcade machines. My Arcade stuff is everywhere, from Walmart to Walgreens to airports, you know. So that Game Station Go unit, I've seen that everywhere. I mean, they had a lot of those things produced, and they originally started selling at like $120 or something crazy like that, and I think within 6 months I got mine for like $39. I don't know, for $39 it was well worth it. I would never pay $100 for it though. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, the Atari VCS. So yeah, it's still alive today. There's still a few games being added to the Atari store. It's mostly like little indie games and stuff like that. You don't get AAA tier games in. They've had a lot of cool Atari remakes. If you use the dual boot and boot it into Windows or something, you know, you can run emulation galore. You can run Steam games on it. Some basic Steam games, not like Battlefield 6 or anything like that. But has a Ryzen in it. It's pretty decent. The controls are kind of wonky. The Xbox style controller is pretty decent. The stick controller is neat. It's kind of like a tech demo gadget kind of controller. I don't know if I could seriously game with it, but it's fun to goof around with. This is a hard one to judge because I'm so happy that it happened. I'm so happy to have it. It's a part of gaming history. Kind of a limited run. I don't even think overseas it was released. I think it was more so here in the States. And you can actually do a lot with it if you're like a tinkering kind of guy. All right, we're down to 7 here. Let's go number 3, which is the Nintendo Wii. Nintendo Wii, it's a classic. We all know the Nintendo Wii, from young kids to old grandpas and grannies playing bowling with it at nursing homes. The Wii was one of those new gimmicks for Nintendo, and Nintendo pulled that one off in a big way. And the early Nintendo Wiis actually also played GameCube games. That's one of the models I have here. So it's really cool to be able to play GameCube games on the Wii with special controllers. I think this one, this one, I agree with you, Turbo. This is going to a A-tier machine. You know, Nintendo's always a little behind on the hardware and the graphics. You know, same went for the Nintendo Wii. It was right in that time where HDMI was kind of taking off. Widescreen, you know, so you had the option to have it in like 4:3 mode, or you could do widescreen mode with it. But it has a lot of software titles for it. The remotes allow you to play shooting games like light gun kind of games. Not really that accurate, but that machine was just all about fun, and I cannot say anything really bad about the Nintendo Wii. The first version of it was really good since it was GameCube compatible. Yes, agreed. I got my GameCube controllers packed away. I did have a GameCube at one point. I think I eBayed it off just because I got the Nintendo Wii that did the GameCube stuff as well. So I figured, well, no reason to have a GameCube. So, all right, let's go number 1, the Atari 400 Mini. This is another retro game system. We use it quite a lot on the stream, and it emulates a lot of Atari 8-bit computers, from the Atari 400 to the 600 to the 800 XL. Does some 5200 games on it, and comes packed in with a joystick that I absolutely love and adore. It looks like an Atari joystick, but it's got a lot of hidden buttons all over it that allow you to use it on a PC for emulation. It's great if you're doing some kind of retro gaming thing that requires a lot of buttons for menu navigation and things like that. The joystick works like a dream. I bought a spare joystick. I have it boxed up. I've never opened it in my cabinet over here, just in case my first one dies someday, because I love that joystick that much that I never want to lose that thing. The Atari 400 is great. A lot of games from my childhood have been played on that thing. It's a little lesser of a Commodore 64, but still a great machine. This one's gonna kind of feel weird to people, but I have enjoyed this thing so much that I'm putting that up into the A tier category, actually. The Wii was my first console for Turbo, but sadly our Wii was the family edition, so it wasn't GameCube compatible. Ooh. I can't remember. Was it like after a year? I don't think it did the GameCube stuff for that long. I think after like a year they stopped doing it, which is too bad. It's too bad they just didn't keep that compatibility in there, because that was really nice. All right, let's go. Let's just go down the row and do the rest of these 1 through 5. So ColecoVision flashback. I'm kind of wishing there would have been a ColecoVision that had HDMI output. This is an older version that has the RCA jacks for composite. So like on the little TV behind me, it plugs in and it works great. I've used it on the stream with like down converters from, or up converters I should say, from composite to HDMI. So I can plug it into the computer and stream from it. Comes packed with a lot of games. 64 games or something like that, 60-ish games. It's missing some of the key ones like Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., but a lot of really good games on it. The controllers are not official controllers, they're kind of knockoffs of the original controllers, and they work just about as good as the original controllers, which is kind of wonky. It's kind of a fun little machine if you've ever wanted to have a ColecoVision. It can't be modded, so you can't add any more extra games to it. Smurfs. I played a lot of Smurfs back at the department stores like JCPenney and stuff when they used to have the consoles out in a row for you to buy. I'm going to give it a D. If it would have been a newer version of the console that had like HDMI input and stuff like that, I would have easily put it up into the C category. Or the ability to mod it. If it had HDMI and you could mod it, it would almost make the B tier. But this is an early version. Maybe we'll get another new one someday. Who knows? All right, PC Engine. This is a mini system that we picked up from Japan and we had it shipped overseas. I think it came in and we started showing it on the stream about 8 months ago. I can't remember exactly. It was a little pricey, but it was kind of one of those mini systems that I had my eye on for a long time and I just never would pull the trigger on it. So we pulled the trigger on it in the last year, and I gotta say this mini has worked awesome. You do have to be careful with it though, because it does have a electronics issue with the power. If you use the wrong 5-volt adapter, you can blow your system really quickly and it'll fry your controllers and stuff like that. And I've made sure, I kind of heard about this before I bought it, so I made sure to buy an AC adapter that was compatible with it, and every time I use this mini system I make sure to use that USB power adapter, and it's been running great. Plays a whole slew of US games, it plays this whole slew of Japanese games. You cannot mod it, you cannot add more games to it, but it's got such unique games on it that I've never had in my life that I've been enjoying the heck out of it, having a lot of fun with it. So that one is actually going to go up into B tier because I said so. All right, time for a quick music change for the last few. Oh, how about Waterfall Energetic? I don't even remember what some of these songs are. These are all just like random musics that we've had in the past that we purchased some license for, and just kind of have a bunch of them that I just never have used or haven't used in a long time. So all right, we're down to the final three. The Commodore 64 full size. This is the big brother to the Commodore 64 Mini. Same exact thing pretty much. Comes with a similar joystick, actually a joystick that works this time, but it's very clicky. It has actual micro switches in it that as you move the joystick around, you can hear click, 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 and it's like you can handle it for about 5 minutes, and then you're like, okay, screw that. I got to put another controller on this, whether it's a gamepad or an Atari stick. So that's too bad about the joystick. It has more USB ports than the Mini. It has the working keyboard. Anytime I stream Commodore 64 stuff, this is the device that comes out, and I love it. I love using it with the Atari joystick that comes with the Atari 400 that we have up in the A tier up here. So there we go. C64 gets A tier status. It's been one of my favorite home computers since I was a kid. This thing works phenomenally. It does what I need it to do. Haven't had problems with it. Works great with Atari joysticks. HDMI output. Yeah, I never have to think about going out and buying an original Commodore 64, having that one. So that is A tier. All right, then we've got the Spectrum. The Spectrum is another overseas story. So like the PC Engine Mini that we bought, this is another Retro Games product that came out, the Spectrum, based on the ZX Spectrum, which was really big over in Europe back in the day. It was kind of the competitor of the Commodore 64. And this re-release of it is a full-size unit, full working keyboard, nice rubber keys. It's the same size as the old computer. Has HDMI output, USB input, so you can load your own games on it, just like any other Retro Games unit. And it's only available in Europe. So I had to order one of these on Amazon UK and have it shipped over. I kind of wanted to do it just because I have zero Spectrum experience. I've never used one in my life. I've never had one. And I know it's such a big machine overseas that I just kind of wanted to get into it and see what I'm missing. It's kind of a mixed bag. Some games make you cringe, and some games are like, oh, it's actually not too bad. I'm kind of impressed with the way they program this in here. So that's going to be somewhere between a D and C category. I'm glad I bought it. It's kind of like the Switch. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I have it. It's got some limited games that I play on it though, so I'm going to rate it like a D+. Turbo says, thought I was going to sneeze there for a second. Turbo says, did you have to get some sort of power adapter for it since it is a PAL console? I did not. Actually, all of the Retro Games units work off of 5-volt USB. And so it's pretty, USB is pretty standardized between Europe and US and everything. It does have HDMI output to it, which once again, standard, video output nowadays. We don't have to worry about that. There are some PAL settings in the unit. Actually, this one does not have it. It defaults to PAL, actually, now that I think of it. But since it's coming out HDMI, it's just automatically adjusted to the frame rate and everything that you need for PAL. So no changes needed, no adapters needed. Nothing like that. All right, last one on the list. Xbox 360. Red Ring of Death. Who remembers the Red Ring of Death? That was huge. The two bad things I remember about this console right off the bat, Red Ring of Death, and the fan on this thing is loud as, I'm just gonna say it, the fan is as loud as fuck on this system, and it is the loudest console that I have ever heard in my life. But that being said, this console is like what we just heard from Turbo. This is S tier. This was graphically a graphical leap like no other. I would say this console is the biggest leap of anything in the gaming industry. And the Xbox 360 is comparable to what, the PlayStation 2-ish? But you could do so much with this. This had tons and tons of games. It had tons and tons of peripherals, like I said. When you had, back in the day, when you had games like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and you had guitars and drum sets and keyboards, and you could plug in your microphone and sing, and then it had games like Battlefield 4 came out on it. I think Battlefield 4 wasn't a launch title, but it was like a few weeks after or within the first month after, and Battlefield 4 was like multi-disc. It had tons of problems on the launch. It took like a month to kind of even stabilize for online play, if I remember right. It was a mess. Turbo says once you got the Slim, you could use the HDMI or composite or component. Game support is just insane. Sure did. That was when my addiction started. So yeah, I've still got this thing packed away in the basement. I've got Tupperware bins full of discs for this game system. I've got my guitars and Rock Band stuff all in the basement. I refuse to sell that stuff. Maybe once a year you'll see on the stream I fire up Rock Band and we play some songs, and I just throw caution to the wind with Twitch, and we just have some fun rocking out to a lot of the music on there. And oh no, good griefs, lost his Xbox 360. That would be a sad day. That would be a system that I would, if it were current, I would have to go out and buy another one. I did have the Red Ring of Death once, and so it was weird. My actual Xbox 360 I got for free. It was 100% free. It was in the time of the internet was kind of fresh, we were still on probably 56k modems, I don't know. But there were some websites out there that, and they were kind of like, they feel like marketing schemes, but if you go out and do tasks and sign up for this website and watch this video and do all kinds of things and fill out your punch card that you did all this stuff, you would get a free Xbox 360. And I didn't know what to expect out of it. I actually did it. I did everything. I signed up for a whole bunch of trials, and then I canceled them and all this stuff. And sure as shit, they actually mailed me my Xbox 360, and I got it for free. It is a unit that Red Ring of Death on me like a year and a half later. I did have to send it in. Microsoft had no problem replacing it. They were really good about it back then. I think they replaced all of them, and even if they were out of warranty, I think they handled it. It was a whole different Microsoft back then than we have now. But I loved it so much I have two. Oh man. One that my dad got for my family, and another that my dad found in the garbage. Whoa, that's cool. That's really cool. I think I even have some peripherals that I bought for it in the last year because I was going to try and get them working on the PC, but they had some kind of U-shaped driving controller. It was wireless, and if you have like the wireless USB dongle for it to work with, I think you can use it on your PC or your Xbox 360. I've never tried it. It's in the little footstool I have behind me with all my controllers in. Someday I'll try it. I bought it off of eBay for like 30 bucks. I was thinking, oh, that would be kind of fun to play with some racing games or something like that. If you think of like the Nintendo Wii, you know, like the little stupid plastic steering wheel that you can get, the little for the adapters. It kind of works like that, I would guess, but never have tried it yet. So those are the consoles that I have available to me. Some of them, most of them, we hook up for streaming yet. Some of them are packed away in the basement. There might be one or two that I forgot to have in here. Like I do have a PlayStation 4 that I just haven't touched in a long time. I forgot about that. I do have an actual Sega Dreamcast packed away in the basement, unlike the Raspberry Pi mini version that we listed on the site here. So still need to try Forza 4 with the Kinect. That's gotta be garbage. Do you have to actually sit there with your hands in front of you or something like that to mimic steering? Is that how that works? Oh boy. Yeah, I've never done any racing games with the Kinect. I've done, you know, like the dance games they had out. I did the bowling. They had a few like Kinect adventures where it's like river rafting and weird little things like that. I want to know how the hell you brake and accelerate. Oh yeah, never even thought about that. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. I wonder how they would do that. Interesting. So there you go. There's our tier list of systems. Couple surprises in there. I was trying to be a little more critical to these things because I love all of my devices, no matter how much they suck, except for that damn Atari flashback down at the bottom. I hate that thing. That was just a complete waste of money. The only thing good I got out of that was a good pair of paddle controllers, so happy about that. But everything else I love, so it was hard to put things down in like the D tier category because, you know, all the machines I love. Like I said, we got another new one coming in a few days. It's the GameStation Go handheld, and I plan to do a lot of mini reviews on that. Anything from first impressions, and then we'll probably have a separate video for like the software that's on it. We'll have a third video for the modifications you can do on it. So we'll have kind of a little mini series on that one when we get a hold of that. So just imagine you had to show your feet in the connected. And then you'd have to sit like sideways, right? So the camera could see your foot like going up and down instead of just being front to the camera, because that probably wouldn't show up too well. Yeah, who knows? You'll have to investigate that and let us know. Alright, so I think that's it. That's our final tier over here of consoles. Turbo and Good Grief, thanks for hanging out tonight and going through this list. We're going to be putting a copy of this out on our sister channel over on YouTube. So if you're watching this over on YouTube, hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to stop over to our Twitch channel, OSGTTV. This is where we do the live streams for everything we do a couple times a week over there. Hope to see you there. And let me know how you rate these consoles. If you would do anything different, throw those down in the comments. And Love to see what you think about this. Imagine walking in while you were playing it. Oh boy. Yeah, Turbo. Have a great night. Good grief. You as well, my friends. And we'll catch you guys real soon. I'm out of here. Take care. Have a good night.